on the show Planet Money,
Sure.
a 10-year-old called in one day and she said, why can't the government just print its own money and then use that for government spending? Why does the government need to tax people and then run the risk of budget deficits? Why can't the government just print its own money, make unemployment go away? And anytime inflation rises, just increase the taxes, make it go away. Sounds like a simple question, very flippant, but she did touch upon this idea that's gaining a lot of momentum, which is called modern monetary theory. And we saw a microcosm of MMT during the pandemic when the government actually printed money to issue these stimulus checks. So, Richin, what is modern monetary theory? Do you think it is a sustainable theory, an idea that we can implement moving forward?
Sure. Let's give a brief definition of modern monetary theory. The simplest definition would be it's something, or it's a no-limit spending capacity of a government given two conditions. One of the conditions is the government is the sovereign owner and issuer of that money. And B is that money is not tied to another currency. What that means is for instance, if we take the US, it cannot start distributing euros for that matter, because it's not the sovereign issuer and holder of the euros. And the other part is that the US dollar is not pegged to any other currency, and hence it can follow this modern monetary theory. If in fact you were pegged to a different currency, this wouldn't apply. Because, for instance, if we take Hong Kong, the Hong Kong dollar is pegged to the US dollar, and we can talk about pegs and free-floating interest rates in a little bit, free-floating currency rates in a little bit as well. But the Hong Kong printing Hong Kong dollars in an infinite capacity then undermines the value of the US dollar. And this is exactly what we discussed earlier, what happened with the Bretton Woods system, is if the Hong Kong government prints enough money, then people can go and ask for US dollars in return. The US dollars then sort of depreciates in value. And then overall you realize that, oh, there's infinite number of US dollars and I can just buy as many potatoes as I want, as I need. So modern monetary theory is this idea that governments have a no limit on its spending capacity during times of need, and they can dial it back when the times of needs are over. So addressing your second half of the question, which is about my thoughts on modern monetary theory, the idea that the government is now following the mandate of most central banks in the world is interesting in some sense, and it's complementary to the mandate of central banks in the world, which generally have monetary policy to regulate to help the citizens of the economy, can be A, complementary, or B, sort of almost interjectory. And what I mean by that is it can complement the federal bank by substituting or creating additional welfare for the economy, or stimulating the economy by creating these stimulus checks. Or it can be complementary in a sense that the federal bank can work on monetary policy versus the government can work on fiscal policies. The interjection might happen if the government decides to go above or beyond, or go conversing or opposite to the direction of what the Fed or the central bank of that economy try to do. And that can be an issue as well. And those issues are generally harder to address because each of those entities are not regulated by the other. So there is no central authority. And then decision-making can be slightly more interfering in that sense. So for instance, the federal bank could have a easing of interest rates to help stir the economy, but the government could be doing something completely different, as increasing taxes on certain parts of the economy that are doing well. However, the mandate or the necessity for not having such increased taxes in the for the foreseeable future might be a strong argument. And so modern monetary theory in some sense can be complementary, but in other times can be somewhat taking away from the purpose of the central bank.